Hello everybody and welcome to actually the first Halo Flashpoint reveal breakdown that we're doing here on the channel. As you may or may not be aware, today Halo Flashpoint had a huge update in that they revealed the rules for all of the new ODST things coming to the game, as well as a major rules errata that we've been kind of expecting and waiting for to kind of play around with some of the existing rules and that maybe people were finding a little bit too strong or too weak in certain cases. So I'm really excited to jump into all of this. We're going to start things out by taking a look at all the new models that were revealed stats wise, because of course we already knew these models were coming, and then we're going to go ahead and move into the rule changes. So yeah, do keep in mind while we're looking at these that there are some rule changes. So if you're looking at these and you're like, oh, they're going to be torn apart by this, that, or the other thing, I'd hold the judgment on them until we've seen the rules that are being modified. So first things first, the people everyone is very excited about here, we have Captain Veronica Dare and Gunnery Sergeant Edward Buck, the two Spartan legends, and as you can see they're already fully in the list builder here. It's fantastic, ready to go. So yeah, let's take a look at Captain Veronica Dare. She's an Oni legend, and she is coming in at 40 points. You can optionally equip a combat knife to make her 42 points. She's got the range skill of 4, fight skill of 6, so definitely a little bit more range focused, with a 5-up save, speed 1/2, armor 1, and HP 3. And we're going to see kind of this stat block be a little bit standard for the ODST characters, so definitely a lot squishier than our Spartans or even our elites. Are only armor 1, HP 3, and no shields to go with it. So definitely not going to be as durable as a lot of the models that we've seen in this game. With the 5-up save, again, that we have seen that before, and it's nothing special. Range skill of 4-up, though, does mean they are going to be able to shoot things reasonably well, or at least in this case, Veronica is. Veronica's coming with Stealthy and Tactician 2. Tactician 2 obviously being really good, so I'm excited to see how that's going to kind of play out. I think Dare is actually going to be a staple for a lot of ODST lists, so really excited to see that. And she comes with the Sokum pistol. This is a range 4 optics pistol. No other keywords, no AP or anything like that. So it'll be pretty good for stripping shields, and you can always go on one of those 8 trains to do a little bit more than that. Next, we move on to Gunnery Sergeant Edward Buck. He's coming in with an MA5D assault rifle. This is slightly different from the assault rifle we've seen before, as well as a Magnum, and he's coming in at 48 points. This is also a different version of the Magnum than what we've seen before. And stats-wise, he's pretty similar. He's a little bit better at the fighting side of things. He's 3-up, 4-up, and 4-up for his stats there, which is certainly pretty nice. And then his speed 1/2, sure, nothing crazy there. Armor 1, HP 3, so that's all more or less the same. And his 2 weapons, range 5 and range 3, weight of fire 1, and optics for the 2 weapons. He does come with fast transition, which is going to be really nice because, they preloaded him with 2 weapons. He's going to be actually quite excellent at stripping shields off of models, just being able to target a couple things at once. But again, no AP is going to make it a little bit harder for him to do more meaningful damage, although he does come pre-equipped with a combat knife at AP 1, which will help out a little bit for that. He's also got a 4-up save, which is pretty solid. Overall, yeah, Buck's probably the best statted ODST that we're seeing in this box, just in terms of raw stats, but he is going to have a hard time cracking armor, I think. Otherwise, though, definitely looks cool, and I love the fact that he's in the game. Next, moving on, one of the things I'm actually going to point out is part of the rules changes was a big points update, and Master Chief is up to 90 points. Otherwise, I don't think they actually changed anything on him, but worth mentioning while we're here anyways. Next, we have the ODST Second Lieutenant. This one is coming with the Avenger Carbine at 28 points. He's got Scout and Tactician 1, and he's 4-up, 4-up, and 5-up, so his fight skills are pretty solid, and his save is fine. He can be equipped with a combat knife for +2 points, and his carbine is a range 3, weight of fire 3 weapon. Weight of fire 3, definitely impressive, so that is a thing, but no rapid fire or anything like that, so it really is just going to be a weapon that's either stripping shields or you're hoping for a nice chain to get past anything with armor. Next, we have the Air Assault Bullfrogs. There's a couple options here for them. The first one has the SMG coming in at 29 points. They've got Acrobatic and Jump Pack. And yeah, they're going to be a little bit more mobile. They're speed 1/3, 5-up for range, but 4-up for fight, so they're a little bit better on the melee side of things. They're pre-equipped with a combat knife as well. 5-up save, and then the armor 1, HP 3 that we're kind of getting used to seeing here. So that combat knife is going to be nice because they do have that 4-up fight skill. And then the SMG is a range 4 optics weight of fire weapon, so Again, one of the things I'm really noticing with these ODSTs is they are definitely light on the armor piercing. They're going to have a hard time taking down other Spartans, but in terms of fighting other ODSTs or even a lot of the banished forces that either don't have a crazy amount of armor, or no, all of them I think have at least one armor. So all the banished things I'm pretty sure have one armor and not a crazy amount of shields. So for the most part, they're going to be pretty effective at dealing with those. It's just going to be there. I think they're going to have a hard time into things with armor too, such as the Spartans and maybe some of the beefier brutes. I'm not actually 100% sure. Next, we look at the other Air Assault Bullfrog here. This one coming in at 26 points, so a few points cheaper. And the only difference here, he's also going to have Acrobatic Jump Pack, same stats, but he gets the MA40 Assault Rifle, which is range for rapid fire and weight of fire too. So only difference there being rapid fire versus optics. And honestly, I kind of like this one better. I think rapid fire is a really, really powerful keyword. Optics is obviously better if you're trying to actually take things down, but rapid fire, I think for objective play, this one is going to be the one that I pick every time. So that's pretty cool. Definitely happy about that. Next, we move to the ODST Captain here. This is a Tactician 2 ODST, so that feels pretty good. The Sock'em pistol equipped in at 35 points. So 4 up, and 5 up. So yeah, a little bit better, kind of rounded. He can do everything. Speed 1, 2, we're back to that stat line because this guy doesn't have a jetpack on him. Armor 1, HP 3, combat knife for 2 points, and the Soakum pistol, which we saw previously, range 4 and optics. So nothing too special there, but Tactician 2 for 35 points is nothing to scoff at. So yeah, that's definitely really, really good. Next, we have the ODST Firebreak. These are probably my favorite ones in the box here. Specifically this one, I think this one's going to be quite good. So he's coming in with the Flamethrower at 29 points. He's a 4 up on his range test, 5 up on his fight test, 5 up for save. Speed 1/3, so I don't know, I guess these guys are real good at sprinting. Armor 1, HP 3, and he comes with the M168 Demo Charge. This is a new weapon. Close combat weapon, AP 2, Blast, EMP, Lethal 1, 1 use. That is a really good melee weapon. That is going to be something they can use to fight Spartans, or really anything. I mean, the EMP, Blast, Lethal, all of that seems really, really good. Obviously, his fight skill only being 5 up is going to be a bit of a problem there, but the EMP part is pretty big. And then having that AP2, I think that's by far the highest AP that we see. You can optionally give him a combat knife. It does cost 2 extra points, though, and is worse in every way other than the fact that it's not 1 use, so there is that to kind of consider. But his default weapon's also pretty good. It's the Flamethrower. It's range 2, AP 1, continuous fire, incendiary 5, and sticky. And yeah, I'm a fan of that. AP 1, range 2, all of that sounds pretty good. Sticky, I mean, you're on 4 ups, so it's not going to happen too often, but it's still pretty solid. And yeah, this just seems like a really solid weapon, I think. Yeah, I think the Firebreak is definitely leaning towards being my my favorite of the kind of bulk ODSTs here. Next, we go to the other Firebreak here. Stats are going to be the same. We're going to notice actually that the Firebreaks don't have any keywords on them. They just have that speed 1 to 3 and slightly better range skill than what we're kind of seeing on the average here. And then this one's coming in with the shotgun. He's 30 points, so he's 1 point more expensive. He also comes with that demo charge and, of course, the shotgun, range 3, AP 1, ESD 1, knockback, and lethal. I also think this is going to be a good one. Again, just having access to those really good keywords to actually be able to take things down. I think this one also has a realistic shot at being able to take down or finish off a Spartan, which is something that I'm really thinking is going to be the ODST's biggest hurdle, is being able to take down other Spartan teams. So next, we go to the ODST Special Purpose Troopers. These are the last two in the box and the cheapest. The first one is coming in at 25 points with the Battle Rifle. They have Scout. They are 4, 5, 5, 1, 2, 1, and 3 for speed, armor, and health. Coming in with their fists by default, but for 2 points you can get in that combat knife. And they've got the BR-55 Battle Rifle. It's a range 5, AP 1, optics, weight of fire weapon. And yeah, I mean, the battle rifle is solid. Optics and weight of fire are both good. AP1 means they'll actually be able to punch through armor a little bit. So yeah, definitely a fan of this guy. Coming in at 25 points, that feels actually really, really good. The next one here is the ODST Special Purpose Trooper with the DMR. This one's coming in with the Scout keyword as well. Same stat block here, same option for the combat knife, but he's got the DMR instead. It's a little bit longer range, being range 6. No AP on this one, but it has lethal 1 and optics. So yeah, again, you get that 8 train going on it, and then that lethal will kind of help you finish things off there. So I'm definitely a fan of this one as well. I think the special purpose troopers actually are both really, really good, and I'm excited to put them on the table. Overall, yeah, I'm actually really, really excited about all of these ODST characters here. I think they look really, really cool, and I'm really excited to see how they're going to operate on the table, A, by themselves, and B, mixed in with other Spartan forces. Other things worth mentioning while we're still in the list builder before we get into the errata is that we have the special orders for this army here. So the first one we want to look at is Hot Drop, and I'm realizing that the way I've set up my screen record here, that's half blocked off, so let me fix that. All right, so Hot Drop is available to any ODST when an ODST is respawning. Instead of using its first action to board onto the or to advance onto the board at a respawn point, you may spend a special order result to take an auxiliary action instead to deploy the model into any cube on the board which contains no models. If the location contains a building, it must be placed on the highest level of that stack. Roll a 3-die range test with a success of 2, so 2 successes, and this is actually going to use their range skill, so if they're melee oriented, then they might have a harder time with this. No effect if the test is passed. Good, cool. You land, that's your position, and this was an auxiliary action, so you've respawned with 2 actions remaining. That feels great. If failed, however, you're going to be pinned and you're going to scatter into an adjacent cube using a scatter roll to determine which one, and it's considered forced movement. That's not ideal, but I mean, you're getting pinned and then you're going to have to stand up, so that's effectively the same as if you had to walk onto the board anyways, but you're probably closer even if you got scattered to where you want to be, so that's still not bad. There's no chance of like just dying or anything like that, which, you know, is a risk the ODSTs run in the lore. So yeah, I mean, this is relatively safe if you have the special order to spend, and, you know, there's an objective you want to get closer to. This is definitely a great way to do that. Additionally, you can use this at the start of the first round. Immediately after rolling your command dice, you may spend a special order to remove a friendly ODST from the board and redeploy it using the above rules. However, when that model activates, it will only have one short action to use that turn. You get to ignore this if they're murdered before they get to activate and you have to respawn them. And then you can spend any number of special order results to redeploy that many ODST. Now, there is a downside to this, obviously, because you still have to use all of this first box here. That does mean you still have to make the range test. So even using this for advanced deploy, where you only get one action, you could end up scattering, getting pinned, and then you have no actions effectively that first round except to stand up from your pin. So that's definitely a downside, but this is potentially really good, being able to just say, you know what, I'm starting the game on the objective. That's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna go from there. Yeah, that feels potentially really, really strong depending on the scenario you're playing. So yeah, I really, really like that. I think that's an awesome rule, great way to kind of incorporate the the drop pods that the ODSTs are known for. Speaking of thematic rules, though, we have another one here. Your orders have changed. This is a dare special order. So you may only use the special order once per round, and you must include Veronica Dare in your fire team. It does not require her to be present on the board at time of use, so you can use this if she has been defeated and is waiting to respawn. At the start of the round, immediately after command dice have been rolled and any rerolls are performed, spend a special order result to change 2 of your remaining command dice to results of your choice. This is really, really good. The ODSTs have access to a lot of tacticians. There's going to be a lot of tacticians playing around. You're going to have plenty of dice, but if there's results that you really, really need to see, this is going to be a fantastic way of guaranteeing them. One of the things I'm even thinking of right now is combining Dare with Chief to always make sure you're getting the right amount of movement or attack or fight dice that you want with him. Gonna have to look into how the rules for combining ODST and Spartan tacticians work, because I know not all of them like to work with each other, but Dare also I don't think actually counts as an ODST. Looking at this, she's an Oni character, so I don't know if she counts as ODST. Buck also doesn't say ODST though, and there's no shot that he's not going to be able to do hot drops. Or maybe he isn't actually. I'm looking at his card, I'm really not seeing anything for it, so that's interesting. But yeah, Dare might interact differently with Chief, and I'm curious to see how that's going to work out. But yeah, I think that's going to be really cool, combining her with Chief for potentially, I mean, you got Tactician 5 right out the gate, and then you can just kind of force whatever results you need, which seems really, really strong. This is a great special order. I'm a huge fan. And there's one more special order that we're seeing here. It is supply drop. This is open to any UNSC, so it's not ODST specific. At the start of each round, you may immediately after rolling command dice is completed, you may spend a special order result to take one face down item token from the supply pile and place it in any cube which contains no models. Do not look at the item when placing it. If the location contains a building, it goes on the highest level. You may spend any number of special order results in this way. Choose a different cube for each item placed. So basically, you can force items to be in your area. So if you're really fishing to get good items, I could see this being useful if you don't have anything better to spend your special orders on, or maybe you're playing the ODSTs and you could use like some extra movement items, maybe some grenades here and there, all those sorts of things to give them a little bit more oomph. So yeah, I think this is a solid one. At only 3 points, that feels pretty good. The other thing worth mentioning while we're looking at this is that the one-man army Master Chief one is coming in at 10 points now, which means if you're running Master Chief with the one-man army, he is 100 points, which is kind of crazy, and probably deserved, but yeah, is a lot of points, so definitely something to consider. I'm also seeing here, it looks like some of these ones have been changed a little bit too. The extra command die every round is down from being 10 points to 8 points, and the single round one I believe was 2 points before, so few changes there. That's definitely something worth acknowledging here. Point changes across the board, though. There's been tons of them, so it'd be kind of hard to go through all of them in this video. But there has been a fair number of them for both weapons and models. We'll talk about some of the weapon ones in a second when we look at the overall rules changes. But yeah, I'm definitely really excited about this. This is adding a pretty decent amount. What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different options now to the UNSC squad building. So Banished is definitely going to need to get a few more things to kind of keep up here, because obviously we have all these different Spartans here. But yeah, I'm overall really happy about these ODSTs. I'm a little worried about their ability to contend with Spartan lists, just because they're lacking some options to deal with armor. But I'm feeling pretty good about that overall. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the rules now. All right, so looking at the rules, there's a few that I'm really excited about. I think we were all kind of expecting these. So the first one here is frag, which is something that was honestly kind of a problem. Frag weapons were just too good. They were guaranteed to throw people around, and that was, you know, even if they didn't do damage, which they were also pretty good at doing damage, a lot of them, they were going to pin things, get them out of position, and they were just guaranteed ways of saying, hey, you know, this objective here, it's mine actually. So they've changed that a little bit. Replace the final paragraph for the frag text in the rulebook with this text. In addition, if frag has the same or more successes than a surviving model, it is marked as pinned and then thrown 1 cube in a random direction. So basically you have to at least tie their survive test to be able to throw them around. I probably would have preferred if you actually had to beat their survive test to throw them around, but you know what? This is still definitely a step in the right direction, and I could see them being scared of making it too weak. You know, you always run that risk when you're trying to nerf something, bringing it to the point where now nobody wants to run it. So I think they've done a good job, as at least as a first hit on this, to kind of see how things are going to play out. I still think frag is going to be real good. A lot of frag weapons, as I mentioned, are pretty good at doing damage, but now you're going to have a risk. There's not a guarantee that that model is going to be thrown and pinned. You have to actually roll okay on your frag roll, or they could roll really well on their survive roll. Gives you extra reason to save those like extra dice for that survive roll and stuff like that as well. So big change to frag. Very happy with this. No more automatically throwing things around and pinning them. Definitely something that needed to happen. Next, we have support weapon. Honestly, I don't think I've seen this used yet, but whilst a unit is carrying a weapon with this keyword, it may not begin or continue a sprint action or throw grenades. Its speed stat is reduced to a maximum of 1, and it will roll no dice if required to make a fight test in assault. If a model moves into the cube containing the support weapon and picks it up, the movement action immediately ends. I feel like this is probably going to be like something on objective equipment and stuff like that, but yeah, it's one that I don't think I've actually seen before, so don't know entirely what this is changing, but it's there. The threat sensor has been changed. It says pick a target cube for the threat sensor. For the remainder of the round, friendly models are considered to have line of sight to that cube and any models within it, and all adjacent cubes from that location. So yeah, that's pretty solid. I definitely felt like the threat sensor was largely, I'm not going to say useless, but not super good before, and this makes it feel better. This means getting line of sight to the cube, not just models, is going to mean you're going to be able to fire your explosive weapons and stuff like that into those cubes, which is pretty good. So, I mean, I guess that's technically a buff to frag weapons that aren't grenades, but that's fine. This is something that I think needed to happen because the threat sensor definitely felt a little bit on the weaker side before. Next, we have active camouflage. They've changed this one a fair bit. So while this model has fully charged energy shields, you may not draw line of sight to it unless you are in an adjacent or same cube. However, ranged attacks will be in a -2 modifier against it. Or if this model does not have fully charged shields, then you may draw line of sight to it as usual. However, ranged attacks will be at a -2 modifier against it. So interesting, because I believe you do technically need line of sight for melee attacks. You can't hit through walls on melee attacks, so this actually will affect melee attacks too. It's not just talking about range attacks. If you're in the same cube, you can make melee attacks, but you're going to get 2 less dice for it. And then if a model with no shield gains active camouflage, this modifier will reduce to -1 die against it for ranged attacks. So sure, yeah, if you had no shields when you pick it up, or you're just a model that doesn't have shields, then it still does something. It's not useless for you, but that is very much a thing. Then the active camo item says the keyword is lost if the model sprints, fights, or shoots. Sure. I don't know if that's different from before. I'm pretty sure it worked like that before as well, but I could be wrong. Or maybe the keyword text was like this before, and now they're kind of setting up to have characters that are always in active camo, such as Halo 5 Arbiter with Prophet's Bane or something like that. I don't know. Something like that could be down the line. I would be very excited if so. Next, we have the health pack item. It's added some text as an auxiliary action. This item can be used to remove all damage from the model carrying it that it has currently suffered. That might just be a cleanup thing. I'm not 100% sure how that worked before. It might have been something where like it only popped if you took damage. So now you can just like choose to pop it. Maybe that's how that works. I'm not actually sure what this is cleaning up, but cool. Makes sense. Works for me. We have an update to the medic keyword, although I still don't think I've actually seen the medic keyword yet. This model may perform free auxiliary action to remove 1 lost wound from a friendly model in the same cube. Sure, sounds good to me. Actually, would have been really, really cool to see a medic model in the ODST box, but as far as I'm aware, unless I missed it, none of them have that keyword, so fair enough, but hopefully something we'll see it down the line. The scout keyword has also received an update. Additional text: if this model has an advanced stat of 1, when this model uses a respawn point to enter the board after advancing, it may take a crouch action for free. Note that it says using a respawn point and after advancing, so this is only going to apply to your ODSTs that have scout if they walk onto the board, not if they hot drop. And yeah, that kind of makes sense, so I'm alright with that. The quantum translocator has also been updated, and there's a whole bunch of text here that explains how it works, but basically now you can't go further than 2 dice away from where you started the movement. And I don't know if this was the same as before, but when you teleport back, if you trigger an assault by entering the cube, you don't gain the +2 dice that you would usually gain for triggering an assault. So there's that as well. That's a little disappointing, honestly. I really like the quantum translocator with Chief just being able to be like, I'm going to activate this and I'm going to go slinging across the board, murder something, and then teleport all the way back. And maybe that's why it's been changed like this, because maybe that was too good, but it was fun. So it's a little sad to see that change. 2 cubes doesn't feel like a great amount of distance. 3 would probably have been a little bit more reasonable in my opinion, but it is what it is. I just thought the item was really, really cool before, but maybe people were abusing it or something like that. I'm not so certain. Acrobatic's been updated here. When this model kills an enemy model, it will receive +1 victory point for each kill in modes which reward victory points for killing your enemy. So basically just Slayer ? Maybe there's other ones. But yeah, basically there's a couple of the models. I think it's the bullfrogs have acrobatics, so if they get to murder things, they'll get extra victory points, which is definitely going to help them in things like Slayer modes where your opponent is probably going to be, if you're playing ODSTs, you're going to be dying a lot faster than your opponent, so you need some way of making up those extra victory points. And here we have the chart with the new weapon costs. I'm going to be honest, I didn't have the old one memorized, so it's kind of hard to say for sure which ones have changed. Although I know a few of them have. Off the top of my head, I know the fuel rod gun went up by about 2 points. The concussion rifle went up by about 2 points as well. So yeah, hitting some of those frag weapons definitely very relevant. I know I, for a while, was abusing a kind of chief fuel rod list, and that list has gone up 20 points. So yeah, I deserved. I think that list definitely needed to be hit, and a lot of the weapons that were increased in points here were ones that were probably being abused. I wouldn't be surprised to see if the grenade launcher was one of the ones that went up in points. Maybe the Hydra, although I haven't actually looked at the Hydra to see what it does, but I'm assuming it's a frag weapon. A little surprised it's as cheap as it is, actually, if so. But yeah, the fuel rod, the rocket launcher going up to 11, brute shot at 13, all of these things just kind of make sense to me. So Spartan laser is another one I know some people have been kind of abusing, so that one being at 16, I don't know what it was at before, but I'm also going to assume that it went up. Overall, I'm pretty sure the idea is most weapons went up in cost rather than down. And that's probably a good thing, because I think some of the weapons you could equip were really, really good, especially when you could put them on really, really good models, such as Chief. So, yeah, definitely a good thing all around. So, unit costs and item and grenade costs have been updated. Some of the ones that I know have been updated are things like the grapple shot has been raised to, I think it's like 5 points up from 3 or something like that. I think the thruster pack actually went down a point or two, so they kind of flipped those, which made sense. The grapple shot just kind of felt better before, but it is what it is. So there's that. New scenarios have been added. There is at least one new scenario that I know of. I might break those down in a separate thing, but for now you can find all the organized play scenarios for free on Mantic's website. So I definitely go check that out if you're interested in the organized play scenarios. Special orders, updated costs, we already talked about some of those. Next, we have rolling for first turn. This is one of the changes that actually is really interesting, because a battle report that was recorded the day before this went live, that you guys will be able to see on, I want to say Saturday of this week. We actually had this come up where Alex wanted to, he had priority and wanted to be able to give it to me. And now that is something you can do. When you roll for first turn, the winner of the die roll gets to choose whether they are first or second. Before, it is just first. And then similarly with the +1 activation command die, alternatively during the end phase, you can spend this result to steal the first or second turn for the next round from your opponent, overriding the normal rolls for determining first player. So yeah, that's a thing. The rest of the text is the same, where you can go back and forth, and whoever does it the most is going to get the choice. But yeah, choosing to go second is actually really, really powerful in this game. So that is definitely a nice thing to be able to do, depending on the type of objective you're playing, of course. Weapon tokens, they've also clarified how you determine your weapon pool with your opponent, which is something that came up in the recent tournament that I went to, where we were like, actually, there aren't really clear rules on how you're supposed to determine this pool. So each player is choosing 12 weapon tokens from any released Halo Flashpoint product to create their weapon pool. You may not take more than 2 of any given weapon token. After rolling for who goes first, the losing player is going to choose which set of 12 they want to use for the game. And yeah, they're going to get their weapons are the ones spawning. So that makes sense. The player who gets to choose whether they're going first or second, they have an advantage there. The other player is going to choose which set of 12 weapons they're using. Most likely they're going to be choosing their own weapons, so they're going to have an advantage there. I think, for example, if you're playing something like the ODSTs and you're trying to go as wide as possible, so you spend all your points on models, you're going to be wanting to put some power weapons in your pool. Whereas if you're doing a list like what I was running, where I had all the good weapons that I wanted were on my guys from the start, I would have probably wanted to bring in a pool with really weak weapons, because I don't want to give my opponent access to those, and I already have the ones that I want. So I think it's going to kind of add an extra depth to list building and that kind of early game strategy, and I'm really, really excited about that. Using command dice off the board has been clarified that you can't use command dice other than special orders that while you are off the board. Again, some special orders are going to ignore this, such as Master Chief's one-man army and obviously the ODST hot drop. Don't care if you're off the board, but otherwise you can't, for example, use an advanced die to get on the board. You have to use your first action to do that still. So that is something that they've kind of clarified. I think that was already like FAQ'd before or something like that, but now it's right in the rulebook. Next, we have activating your models. All models must activate in a turn. Basically, you can't pass away activations of models that are either pinned or waiting to respawn. You have to do those actions. You have to either stand up or respawn. You're welcome to pass away your activations after that. If you don't want to do anything with your second action, that's up to you. But you do have to either stand up or respawn. I could see waiting off on respawns being valuable in some of the objective modes, just being able to say, actually, this model is going to choose not to respawn, because maybe it's a killy game mode and you want just, someone like Chief or Atriox to just kind of go around doing everything rather than letting your other models get murdered again. So I could see why people were doing that, but that's been clarified now that you're not allowed to do that. They've also updated line of sight. My understanding of line of sight before was basically all your models were a perfect cylinder from base to top of head, and if you could see any of that space, then you could target them. Now it looks like you have to draw line of sight to an actual part of the model that would be contained in that cylinder. So you can't get the blank space between your arm and the head. You have to actually be able to see part of the physical model. So that's definitely a solid rule change in terms of intuitive line of sight. It is a little interesting in terms of modding models and what that does for organized play and things like that. If you reposition your model, then does that give you an advantage or a disadvantage now? That's definitely something to kind of consider. That was already a bit of a thing before, but is more of a thing with this line of sight update. But overall, I like it. I see Flashpoint as being a game where you want to kind of have those more narrative, more kind of casual games, and I think this kind of adds to that a lot. You get to kind of be like, no, I can actually see your model, like that makes sense. So yeah, I like it. I think it's cool, and I think it works for the way the rest of the game is designed. So yeah, that is the rules update we're looking for. This is definitely a really, really exciting one. Obviously, getting to see all the rules for all the ODSTs at once is super cool, and some of these much needed changes. Chief going up in points really does feel like it needed to happen. I've personally been abusing him, so I think that was something long overdue here. And getting to see what all these ODSTs do is just fantastic. Getting all the, we've got the tacticians, we've got the jump packs, we've got a decent number of tactician here. We've got Tac 2, one more from Buck there. The lieutenant's coming in with one. The captain comes in with two. There's just a lot to go around here. It's kind of crazy how much there is. I'm really, really excited to see just how many tactical dice these guys are going to get to roll, and they're going to need them. They're going to need them to make up for kind of their lower base stats across the board. They're definitely going to be squishier. We're going to see these guys actually going down to some of those weapons before that never really put a dent in things like Spartans, like basic assault rifles and stuff like that. And you would have needed a really, really good roll to do anything to a Spartan past their armor for those. But against these guys, you can definitely do that. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they're going to shake up things and how they're going to interact with the existing models in the game. I think they're going to be really, really fun to play against brutes. I'm a little worried about playing a pure ODST squad against other Spartan squads, but I think mixing them is going to be what's really fun. Being able to mix them, go half and half with a Spartan squad, you get kind of the widespread of models. You're going to have a bunch of things to capture different points and play objectives with, while you have a couple of those beefier Spartans in there to kind of take hits and hold down points and things like that. I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see how they're going to interact with each other. So I'm super excited for the world where we're going to get these guys all on the table. But that is going to do it for my thoughts. I've been talking to your guys' ear off for half an hour at this point. So, yeah, I'm really, really excited. Definitely let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Are you guys excited about these ODSTs? Are you guys ready to get them on the table and get them all set for their combat drops? Super duper excited myself. I cannot wait. I actually called my game store as soon as this came out and was like, hey, when is this box hitting? I want to get it as soon as possible. The unfortunate answer was not until next week, but I'm really, really excited about these guys, and I hope you guys are as well. And what do you guys think of the rule changes? How do you guys think about the changes to frag? I know that's one that a lot of the community was predicting something was going to change with frag, something along the lines of what they ended up doing. Do you guys think it was enough? Do you think it was too much? Do you think it was too little? Always curious to hear what people are thinking on that one. Personally, I think they might have went a little bit too light on it, but I'd rather that than too heavy, and in the future they can always tweak it again if it's still a problem. So that is kind of my favorite way to see them do that, and I love that they're willing to do that. The game's only been out for a short amount of time now, and they're already going in and they're making these changes to balance things and make the game a little bit healthier and more fun to play. So definitely a big fan of that. Huge props to Mantic for this. This update is looking really, really good, and I'm super excited to get all this stuff on the table. But that's going to do it for my thoughts, so I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, please do drop that like down below. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. We do Flashpoint battle reports as well as battle reports and news for a handful of other games, so if you're a fan of that sort of thing, feel free to jump on in. But that's going to do it for this one, so until next time, have a great day, everybody. Peace.